In this video, I'll be ranking every single Hive game mode. From the popular ones like Bedwars and Skywars, to game modes like Death Run and Murder Mystery, this will be a big video, so grab your popcorn. Before we begin though, 1. Limited time game modes like Ghost Invasion and Mob Game will be on here. 2. I'm going to be completely honest in this video, so keep in mind that these are my opinions. With that in mind, let's begin. Starting off at number 16, at the bottom of the list, we have Ground Wars. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's really surprised by this one. Let me explain my problems with this game. The projectiles feel weird. It feels like they don't hit your opponents. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you've played this game long enough, you'll know what I'm talking about. Why is the max player count 12? That is the main reason this game is so boring. It always feels like there's no one to kill and everyone's at the back of their base. No one also builds because there's no one in the game, so there's no point of the destruction power-up. And that's why Snow Wars felt way more chaotic. It had 20 players. Even old Ground Wars had more going on with it. This game has extremely slow XP with no reward for maxing it. And the Hive community absolutely loves max glazing this game for some reason, and that is why I think Ground Wars is the worst game. I mean, the fact that you gain less XP for killing someone in this game than collecting a coin in Murder Mystery says something. Number 15 is an interesting one. We have Parkour Worlds. Now, as its own thing, the Parkour Worlds themselves are good. The skill curve, until you specifically get to Dragon's Dare, is fair, the atmosphere for each of the worlds are amazing, and it's truly a game for anyone. As a simple little micro hub, I like it. But if we lump this in with the other games, it's at the number 15 spot. The main reason why is there's just no point in playing it after 100% maxing it. And we don't know when they'll update this game. Parkour Worlds also takes up a place for a potential parkour game mode. An idea I have to help is to turn Parkour Worlds into a parkour game mode, and make the Parkour Worlds micro hub that game's micro hub. The micro hub would be a great practice zone, and this would allow for a parkour game mode to be added in a way that makes sense. That parkour game mode could also be a competitive parkour racing game for versing each other, or like an Obby King type game mode. This would massively help with replay value for the game. Even with replay value aside, there's minor things too, such as the arcade fans, which I hate with a passion, and how you can't see how close you were to your record when you finish. There should also be a notification if you've reached a checkpoint quicker or slower than your best attempt, which should have been added to this game first. Overall though, Parkour Worlds is pretty solid, just a bit missed potential. Coming in at number 14, we have Hide and Seek. This game is really well made, but it's pretty boring. You just sit there, taunt, and that's all there is to it. There's also no point in being a seeker. You barely get any XP for doing anything as a seeker compared to a hider, which I think is pretty weird. If there was more reward for being a seeker, this game may be more fun, but besides that, it's a well-made game, but it's pretty boring. The models, how customizable the game is, and most of the maps are great. At number 13, we have Ghost Invasion. Ghost Invasion is a limited time game mode that comes around every Halloween. I think Ghost Invasion serves as a good LTM game. By itself, it's not that fun, and it's quite a repetitive game, but the grind to maxing it is usually fun. It is the same game every year, but with mob games returning potentially in 2025, there's hope for a new Halloween LTM. Speaking of mob games, number 12 is Mob Game. This game was only available for 14 days, but it'll return in 2025 if it's a well-received game. I love the concept for this game, how different it is to the rest of the games on the server, and the art style. But there is a lot of problems with this game. A lot of them have been fixed with the quick hotfix they did. The wither was too weak compared to everything else, and while it's still quite weak now, it has more health and the power-up cooldown is shorter. Speaking of the cooldown, when the cooldown ends, it actually lets you know that it's over. However, there's still some things with this game that I don't like. It's really annoying when you lose the game entirely because you're specifically the Wither or the Enderman. The whole game is a third-party simulator, but the mobs are too unbalanced. I crashed out so many times the last few days trying to max this game when I realized that it was leaving so soon. You'll be done soon, I hope? I hope so! But bro! They literally went under the freaking thing and then it just did nothing because there was a block above them. Like, bro! Bro, I can't with this game anymore. Fix the Enderman. Bro, what? Who are you? How do you live? Bro, literally took 2 hearts of damage from that. Excuse me? Bro, negated full damage? Okay, I'm done, bro. I'm done. They always end up at 1 health. Yeah, every single mob ends up at 1 health. Then some guy literally spawns next to you and steals the kill. That's this whole game. I hate how the power-ups despawn so fast. I hate how there's no visual indication or countdown to when the power-up will despawn. I hate how the Enderman just doesn't work when there's blocks above them, and I hate the parts of the maps that should have barriers but there aren't. If the things I just mentioned got fixed, Mob Game will be a lot better to play. Since Mob Game is in its beta and these suggestions will probably be fixed when it returns, my suggestion to make this game even better is to simply make the game more replayable by adding more than 10 mobs to the future update. As of right now, it's a very consistent pattern for mobs, and having at least one new mob each round would help with replay value. New maps would also help a lot. That's all I have to say about this game. Number 11 is Capture the Flag. Okay, hold on a second. Let me put this game in the pan and fry it. I hate the stalemates where both teams have their flag at their own base. I hate the stalemates where the whole enemy team is at their base and you can't get the flag because it's a 1v6. Now obviously you'd want to stay at the base to protect the flag, so the game ends up prolonging so much. I hate when people on your team leave and you lose because of that. I also hate when people build over the build height when they have the flag. The game used to be more fun because everyone was playing it, but now not as much because it's really hard to get a full party to play this game. Speaking of full parties, it's annoying when there's a full party and there's not much you can do about it. You're versing a team with emos that be playing like they're about to win the NBA finals or something. Also, how many times am I gonna get in a game with these Hive Swiss that have Capture the Flag in the name? Like, wrap it up, bro! I hate the map Pirate's Paradise. The cooldown for the cannon is way too high, and there's only one, so most of the time you have to walk through this unnecessarily large map. A lot of this map consists of lily pads and water too, which makes it very odd to play on. I also hate Prosperity. It takes a whopping 45 seconds to make it to the other base. This map doesn't need to be so large. Also, no one knows about these launch pads, and they launch you away from the enemy base. Even with what I just said though, there's still a lot of good things with this game. They perfected the models, the UI and the sound design for this game, and the maps that are good are really good. Overall, the items, the armor, and the prices are also incredibly balanced. Number 10 is Block Drop. Block Drop is a nice game to play while zoning out or listening to music. It's definitely a much more chill game than Block Party where you have to lock in the whole time and it's less luck based, but it's still a tiny bit below Block Party. This is probably a controversial opinion, but the only reason why Block Drop is below Block Party for me is because I don't want to run for 3 minutes before getting to any eventful part of the game. Most of the Block Drop maps, especially Abyss, are too large. Flowers is the closest Block Drop map to being perfect. It has 5 layers, but it's a lot smaller and games on the map feel faster paced. However, the path on this map is a bit distracting due to the block deteriorating animation. But besides that, Block Drop is a nice game. Their take on TNT Run is unique, and this game offers one of the best custom server experiences on the Hive. But now at number 9 we have Block Party. The game looks cool visually, but it's quite luck-based. The difference in usefulness between the power-ups are too wide. The jump boost is useless compared to a colored teleporter. You pretty much have to be locked in the entire game just to get these colored teleporters to win, which I don't like. And they also haven't updated this game since it came out in very early 2023, and we don't know if they'll ever update this game again. But I do find more consistent enjoyment from this game than Block Drop, and I love the leaps in this game too. Number 8 is The Bridge, a game that used to be pretty controversial. There's only 3 kits to choose from, and the Golden Apple kit is useless compared to the Snowball and the Leap kit. Both the Snowball kit and the Leap kit are overpowered. Now yes, the Leap kit is overpowered, but everyone uses it so I feel like it's easier to counter because you're expecting it, and then there's the Snowball kit. I think most people are too distracted with the Leap kit to realize how insane 8 snowballs is. But overall, this game can be pretty repetitive after a few rounds, but I do like the 3D models, the goal unlocks, and all of the maps they've added. The city, the Colosseum, and the cubic variants add so much replay value and help make each round feel different. However, the Techno maps are kinda flawed. It's nearly impossible to defend on Techno tiered because there's 4 ways to score. Tell me, how are you supposed to defend the top entrance? There's also Colosseum Temple, where you can just build up here and it's actually impossible to defend. Like, how is anyone supposed to defend this? There's also duos, which to me is too easy. But at least solos is playable now. Solos used to be unplayable for the longest time until they removed skill-based matchmaking. So you can actually play it without waiting in 15-minute long queues if you're good enough. But I'm glad solos has been fixed. Number 7 is Gravity. Gravity is surprisingly a pretty fun game. Now objectively, it has no replay value once you know all the maps, but it's still pretty fun to do once in a while or with quests. And the new maps are fun to play and have good replay value. Although a simple way to make each gravity game more interesting is to add optional ranks to fall through in the maps for additional XP so you don't do the same route every time. This would make each game vary a lot for skilled players, and you don't have to do it, it's just an optional thing. Now moving on to number 6, we have Murder Mystery. When one of your friends is the murderer, it always tends to be a blast. Let's go! Okay. Let's go! Rah! I'm like that, I'm better!
How did you know that it was him though?
Streaming! Still! Bro, you missed a big time. This is why you don't stream, to fit in with everyone else that's streaming. I don't really have any issues with this game besides 2 things. One is this game takes a literal lifetime to max. It took me 5 years of off and on grinding to only make it to level 73. That's only slightly more than halfway to max, and they decided to add prestiges to this game. Whenever I see someone that's over prestige 3, I just get concerned. And 2, there's not enough maps for this game, especially considering how much games you have to play. Considering how short and how much you have to play this game should have as much maps as Death Run. The worst part about that is every new murder mystery map now is too gimmicky. For example, Fairy Gardens. It has a weird gimmick where there's 2 sides of the maps and it's divided by a teleporter. Now I'm not saying every new murder mystery map has to be the greatest thing ever that adds something new to this game, we just need new maps. Number 5 is Just Build. Some things I like about this game are it's funny, it's surprisingly good for content, and the monstrosities that other people make. These monstrosities are perfect for content. There's also now a sense of community in this game, which I like too. Also, just like Murder Mystery, this game is really fun to play with friends, and I recommend you guys try it. I think everyone knows that Murder Mystery's peak with friends, but Just Build solos or duos with friends is as fun as Murder Mystery with friends. With that though, onto my problems with Just Build. They never add new Minecraft blocks to the Just Build creative inventory, even when newer blocks are used in other Hive games, which is really annoying. Also, there seriously needs to be way more Halloween and Christmas themes. It's already difficult enough to build the already existing themes half the time, and it feels like the replay value dies down during these points of the year. And then there's obviously the inappropriate builds, but I'm glad they're finally taking action to fix this. Also, a few things that will massively improve the game is when you set the floor as water, you should be able to place blocks in the water. It should also be more clear how to set the floor. I feel like having a large model at the corner of the arenas to change the floor would be very nice. The amount of people that fill in the floor because they don't know that you can change the floor is crazy. A way to fill blocks in a future Just Build update would also be pretty nice. Number 4 is Survival Games. Survival Games is a really good and underrated game mode. It's the least RNG based PvP game mode, which I like. All the maps are good and the items are balanced. The rarity of high tier armor and items in chests for example are great, and it encourages you to loot supply crates where everyone will know where they are to get the best loot. Now yes, there is a small problem where sometimes you can't find people and you have to run the whole game, but activity trackers have helped immensely. But let's face it, Skywars is a lot worse than SG when it comes to running. The only real problem with this game is that it doesn't update. I understood Hive for not adding new maps because it's too much work build-wise. Well, I mean kinda, they make maps like Pirates Paradise and Prosperity. But new items would really spice up the game. This game has the potential to become something even bigger if we get a proper content update. They added Vista and 30 new levels last year after players have been begging for years, which is already a big step in the right direction. Coming in at number 3, we have Death Run. I love this game. It's a very simple game where you reach the finish line while deaths activate traps to prevent you, but there's nothing wrong with it. Being a runner is usually very fun. Being a death can be annoying sometimes because the other death hoards all the traps and I re-queue, but it's alright. I have one small nitpick though, which are the newer maps. They're definitely cool and all, don't get me wrong, but tell me what the hell is Synthwave's ending? It's not as bad as Murder Mystery's case, but some of the new maps feel gimmicky in terms of the gameplay, which although differs itself from the older maps and gameplay wise is better, some parts are kind of annoying because the checkpoints are so spaced out. An example I can think of is Steampunk, specifically the ending of the map. And then like I said earlier with Synthwave, this trap is pretty much unavoidable unless you have a leap. And even with a leap, it's still pretty annoying. Number 2 is Bedwars. Bedwars is Hive's newest game mode. It's a modern twist to Treasure Wars, which Bedwars replaced it. I made a full video on my thoughts a few months ago. At first, I thought Bedwars was weird as hell and that they ruined the game instead of adding new things like they promised, but after like the first week or so, it grew on me. The games feel more interesting to play compared to Treasure Wars. The only thing I preferred with Treasure Wars was that it had more items and the Megas variant. It also had playable free shop, which Bedwars free shop for sure isn't. Bedwars has an easier shop UI with the chest and more gameplay variation. More specifically at the start of the game via Deep Slate and near the end of the game with fully maxed out items. Now there are some problems, like how the fireballs shred through half your health regardless of your armor, the fireballs being missed potential for fireball jumping since they removed knockback boomboxes, the dories being really overpowered, and how they reset the stats for this game. But besides the stats one, Bedwars Season 2 should change these items and fix these issues. As of the time this video is made, Bedwars Season 2 is not out yet, but we got a release date on January 31st, and the hub alone looks so awesome. There also seems to be a Bedwars LTM coming along with it, and I couldn't be more excited. However, even if Bedwars Season 2 is the greatest thing ever, it probably still wouldn't beat my number 1 spot. With process of elimination, you should know what number 1 is. Coming in at number 1, surprising no one, it's Skywars. Hive Skywars to me is the most fun and polished game mode on the server. I've played almost 6,000 games of Skywars, which is so much more than any other game mode on here. There's so many things you can do in Skywars. It's the best game mode for challenges, 1v1s, trapping, etc. You name it, it could probably be done in Skywars. Although I feel like Skywars lacks maps, the ones that we do have are really good. The weekly items they added recently also spice up the game a lot. So yeah, Skywars is the most well-made game on the Hive, but there are some things I don't like with it. I hate when you're missing one piece of armor and you can't get it. Now this would be fine if diamond armor wasn't the most broken thing ever on the server. It's fine in Bedwars because it's not luck based and you have to work to get it, while Skywars is heavily RNG based. This one thing alone makes most of my games feel unfair. These Hive emos spawn in with plot armor and then I die in 5 hits because I'm missing what, like a diamond helmet? That is absurd. There's a ton of blatant and closet cheaters that plague this game too. I know I'm like the worst Hive YouTuber at this game, but sometimes it's really hard to know who's really good at this game and who's closet cheating. So many people also run in this game. Like I hit somebody once and then they spend the whole game running a marathon. Or they make the whole entire Empire State Building clutching, like my guy, like stop, it's not that deep. I feel like it's too easy to make this game take long, and Hive has some really notorious maps for running. It's really hard to ignore whenever I play this game. Wow, that was a lot. In conclusion, my least favorite game on the Hive is Ground Wars, and my favorite game is Skywars. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not, and comment down below your thoughts on the games. Now click here to go watch one of my other map ranking videos, like this video.